not put your...
The Gingerbread Doll. Oh my goodness, it's time for another Grandma's Story Time. Are you ready?
Yep.
This is a little bit longer story, so settle down, cuddle up, and let's go. My grandma and aunts get together each winter for a day of baking Christmas cookies. When the oven is hot and full and the kitchen smells spicy, my great-grandma Rebecca tells us her story about the gingerbread doll. It happened in 1930 during the Great Depression when people were terribly poor. She was only 9 years old and lived on a farm in Wisconsin. Oops, let's show you the picture.
What? There's no picture.
But there's a little few people in the kitchen.
Oh.
Okay. And this is a picture of my grandma at that farm in Wisconsin. Pretty, wasn't she?
Her name is also Becca.
She remembers boots crunching through the snow surrounding the narrow farmhouse. Her mama had to feed the animals even on Christmas morning. Rebecca pulled the blankets around her to fight off the chill. She was the first one awake except for her parents. Heat from the stove barely reached her bedroom. That's why Mama put cardboard on the window, and Rebecca pulled it out to see frost patterns on the glass. It would have been a perfect Christmas picture, except she had to carry a heavy bucket full of water to the house. Back in those days, they didn't have water that came to your house. You had to go get it. Mama had been so full of hope that last winter, when they had bought the farm, she and Daddy had saved a long time, and they packed all their belongings into a borrowed truck. You see that?
Hey.
And the two boys rode with Daddy.
So, Grandma.
The other 5 children...
Also a snow bike.
He is riding his bicycle, isn't it? See him?
Snow bike.
See him riding his little snow bike? Right here.
Yep.
The other 5 children went in the car with Mama, but Rebecca kept the baby warm under her coat. And they drove all the way from Illinois through a snowstorm to get to their new home. Rebecca remembers when her Mama first saw it was a tar paper house, and Mama cried. The house looked like some kind of blotched, patched up black stovepipe. The water was frozen, and inside the walls and the floor were a mess. So Daddy started working and painted Wilcox on the mailbox. It was only a miracle that helped them live through the winter. Big hail drops, frozen water, destroyed the first year's crop, and Daddy said there was no money for Christmas. But the holiday excitement kept Rebecca hoping that she would find a special porcelain doll under the tree that she'd seen in the store window in town. Now, I don't know if you know what a porcelain doll is. A porcelain doll, if you ever see a doll, they're like usually on a stand and they're standing up, and their skin isn't soft, is it, like regular dollies? It's hard and cold. It's like made out of glass. Well, her little sister Claire woke up and said, "What are you looking at?" "Just Mama," Rebecca said, and Claire jumped out of bed and said, "Let's run downstairs and find our presents." But underneath the tree, Rebecca saw there was no hope for a doll. This is all she saw under the tree. That's it. A few sticks, some brown paper and string. Nothing. But then her oldest brother James read off all their names. Rebecca and her sister made a fuss over every gift so the little ones wouldn't notice. They were just things like walnuts or pencils, and Daddy held on to Mama's hand. It was very hard for Daddy and Mommy to be so poor and have their children, wasn't it? I'm going to take these lights off. I think they're ready for a little break. Rebecca felt a lump in her throat because there was nothing for her, and Mama looked at her face, and she went to get something out of the cupboard and said, I'm sorry. I couldn't get you the doll that you had picked out. We're too poor this year. But I made you this out of molasses and lard. And for you, I have a little something special. She wondered what it could be. Of course, what might it be? And suddenly she saw it was a gingerbread doll. A doll made out of gingerbread. Now, who had ever heard of such a thing? Do you know what gingerbread is? It's like cookies or gingerbread cake. But Rebecca's heart leaped when she saw it. Oh my goodness. She was good at imagining, and she knew she would have fun with this gingerbread doll. And it was more than fine. It was a doll, and it was her very own. Mama had rolled the dough extra thick and cut it out in the shape of a girl. She used yarn sticking out of it for hair. Look at that. And she stitched together old cloth and made her a dress. And then Mama found 3 bright buttons for that special doll. How special is this? Oh my goodness. Rebecca knew right away what to name her. Mama, her name is Button Marie. That's her name. And she cradled Button Marie, cradled her up just like a baby doll. And Rebecca took extra care not to break her because, after all, that doll was really not a doll. It was just a cookie. You got to be extra careful not to break a cookie doll, don't you? Mm-hmm. Every time I eat cookies, the first bite I take, they crumble. And I can only imagine if I played with it like a doll. That day for Christmas, though, they had a treat. Mama made more gingerbread and soaked it in cream. And Rebecca said, no, 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 to her brothers and sisters. You better not think about eating my gingerbread doll. No, you don't want to eat my gingerbread doll. Rebecca took the doll's dress off very carefully and put it back on and twirled her yarn hair into a curl. She kept her doll in the lid of a box. This is how poor they were. She took a lid of a cardboard box and made a bed for that dolly. They had nothing. She put her against the wall, and Rebecca would have given anything if she would have had the porcelain doll. But you know what? She loved Button Marie just as much. No, that's not true. She loved Button Marie even more than she would have loved the doll from the store because her mommy made it for her and did it because she loved her. One day, Rebecca opened the drawer too fast, and when she opened the drawer to get her gingerbread doll, Button Marie hit the dresser too hard and broke. Rebecca wanted her mommy to glue her, and her mommy looked careful at all the broken pieces, and she managed to smile and said, "Honey, I'm sorry. Button Marie was just a Christmas doll. She was never meant to last forever." Rebecca started crying. "Mommy, she was not a cookie. She was my baby. She was my doll." And Mama said she was a doll because you loved her. Sadly, Rebecca put Button Marie's dress away. That's all. She just had the dress now. The next year, there was a good harvest, and the family was able to fill the loft with hay. They're not as poor anymore, are they? James and Daddy put white siding on their farmhouse, and that year for Christmas, there were some presents under the tree. I'm not kidding. This year was better. And Rebecca felt sure she would never love another doll as much as Button Marie. But her gift that year was a corn husk doll, one that her mommy had made out of a corn husk. So you know how you have the corn on the cob?
Yeah.
And the husk is around it?
Me and Felicia used to make them a lot.
Good idea for all of you to do too. So the neighbor taught Mommy, you soak the husks off the corn and bend them, and then Mommy used a fine tip marker and made a face and gave Rebecca a new doll. Rebecca hugged her mommy when she saw that and she gave her a big kiss. They were very, very happy. And then the next year, Rebecca got a paper. No, it was cloth. She got a cloth doll that came from the store. It wasn't as nice as a porcelain doll, but she liked the doll, and it had a very pretty pink ruffled gown. When Mama saw the gingerbread doll's dress, she said, oh my goodness, Rebecca took the doll's dress off, that pretty pink dress, and put all that old Button Marie's dress on her. And Mama said, where did you get that old dress? But Mommy's eyes sparkled. She was happy. Mommy taught the children to pinch their pennies and not spend too much money. Daddy never got rich, but he did well enough farming that one Christmas, Mama was able to give her a porcelain doll. She was a beautiful doll with red lips, and she was dressed in red satin and white fluffy. You see that? You see that dolly there? She even had ringlets in her hair. But Rebecca also kept Button Marie. Now she's just a scrap of cloth and buttons, and my great-grandma smoothed her out with her thumb. Because my great-grandma, even though she's my mommy's mommy, she still kept that little doll and shows it to me every year at Christmas when we're making gingerbread. My great-great-grandma Rebecca tells me of all the dolls she ever had in her life, that was the very best doll she ever had. And she said, do you know the difference? She tells me, it's because Button Marie was made with love. Kind of a long story. I hope you stayed with me. Merry Christmas. Bye.
November.
Bye-bye. I love you. Wave bye, guys.
Bye.